Well, guys, I'm back. I have a piece of shit in front of me.
Here's a nice piece of shit.
Yes, I bought this piece of shit on purpose, knowing it's a piece of shit. I was on Amazon getting some other stuff, and I saw this, and I like to do these. I like to do these PSA type videos. I like to show you the crap that's out there. And this, if you were uninitiated, if you don't know, and there's way more people that don't know than do know, you might think, oh God, you might think I'm crazy for buying this shitty knife. There are people who might actually look at this and think it's a Strider. And there's a lot of people that are going to comment like, oh, well, they're dumb, they're this, they're that. Yes, they are, but at the same time, they might not necessarily be dumb. They might just not know any better, you know? So I got this thing so we could look at it together and point out some of how you know this is not real in several different ways. Now, the first part is basically there's an overabundance. There's way overabundance of fake Strider knives with this pattern on the scales. If you see this pattern, I'm not saying every single one of them is fake, but if you see this pattern, you should probably stay away from it. It is probably not a real knife. I'm just saying. I mean, it's a real knife. It's made of metal, but it's not what you think it is. The price on this was only $19.95, which right there should tell you something. And they don't falsely advertise it as a Strider, but I've fallen victim to this, and I know a lot of other people that have fallen victim to this. You see a picture and you just jump on it without reading. Now, if you actually read the specs on this thing, they don't lie. They tell you it's a tactical folding knife, EDC pocket knife for men, women, spear point, 5 CR15 steel blade, metal handle frame lock, pocket clip for camping, hunting, survival, hiking, hunting, black large. That's literally the description of this knife. So up front, they're not lying to you and telling you that this is like some super steel. But again, if you see something that looks like a Strider, a lot of people are prone to just pull the trigger on it and get it. A Strider like this, which would have titanium on each side, and this is actually a metal backspacer too. It's gonna cost you hundreds, if not thousands. Seriously. Yeah. The lock stop here, it's the wrong shape. The screws are, They look like, I don't know, they kind of look okay. The pivot looks okay, not great, okay. But the thing is, number one, okay, so that is not, a Strider doesn't have detent like that, and a Strider is smooth. A Strider isn't rough and hard like this. It moves. I have several Striders, real ones, but they're not here right now. They're still in storage. So now they don't show any Strider emblems on the product listing, which I get, which is cool that they didn't do that. But a lot of times the fake listings will edit out the actual brand markings because they know they're selling a fake. Like, so if you look on AliExpress or whatever else, even some knives on eBay, on Amazon, they will just Photoshop out the emblems because they know they're selling a fake one. And it's sort of one of those understood things. When they tell you don't post any pictures in your review, it's because the one you get is going to have the emblems and they don't want that on there. So this doesn't have any emblems, which is good. It doesn't have a fake Mick Strider signature anywhere on it, which is good. And it does really well replicate the blade of a Strider SMF. This is the SMF model, the larger model. The SNG is smaller, only has 2 frame screws up here. Overall, if you didn't care, if you wanted a $19 knife, it's a chunker. It's solid. What should be titanium, it's heavy as hell, is actually steel. And I tested that with a magnet. I don't think I have another magnet here with me right now. I don't. I'm looking around. I don't have one right now. The front scale, the back spacer, the clip, and the rear scale, all steel, which is why this thing is so heavy. You can actually you could beat somebody to death with this thing. It's so damn heavy. Another way to tell, this is classic fake Strider. Do you see the cutout? I don't know if you can see it. It follows the lock bar into the groove. So a real Strider will have a circle. That slit will end in a circle directly in the center of this groove. This has no circle, and it actually goes a little bit back off center. It goes, it's rear off center. Some of the fake ones I've seen have that little circle, that little hole, but it is also either too far forward or too far backwards. So again, fake. The lockup on this thing is pretty good. It comes perfectly centered, and like I said, big old chunk of steel. It's 5CR13, so it's not good steel, but it's steel. And it, like I said, it has the classic shape of a Strider SMF blade. Striders are known for being large, over-engineered knives. They're big, chunky. You know, if you do the whole history of Strider, it's just a roller coaster ride of great and terrible regarding some of the people and some of the things that went on. But you know, Navy SEALs had custom done Striders with NSN numbers and everything. They were issued. And you can find them on eBay too. They have the NSN number, the national stock number, stamped on there. Strider has become known as one of the big names in the high-end production / mid-tech. They also make amazing customs that are thousands of dollars. Both Mick Strider and Dwayne Dwyer. Dwayne Dwyer is Mick Strider's his partner in the Strider Knife Company. Dwayne Dwyer. I have a Dwayne Dwyer custom. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's perfect. Oh man, I wish I had gotten that and taken. I still have a whole storage unit in Pennsylvania. I have to hire movers to bring out here, and most of my knives are still in there. Anyway, forgot where I was going with that. But you know, sometimes there's people that will refer to the holy trinity of higher end knives: Hinderer, Strider, and Chris Reed. And you'll find that on a lot of forums. I could see how somebody would be very excited seeing this online and without a second thought, either think they're getting a real one or think they're getting a clone with the markings and everything else that they can try to pass off as a real one. And, you know, I don't support buying fake knives. I don't support buying clones at all. So the difference between a copy and a clone, in my opinion, a clone is a one-for-one replica of the real thing, down to the markings on it, or at least they try. Like a lot of the Benchmade clones, you'll notice the printing, like the butterfly is just off a little bit, or the font is just slightly wrong or something, but they really try to pass it off as a perfect replica of the real thing. A copy, I think, really more is like when we talked about the Battle of the Bug Outs, who did it better, where Ozark Trail basically took the bug out, made a bug out. They didn't copy every single detail, but you can look at it and say, like, yeah, you copied this knife. Either way, this would be a copy to me. Halfway to being a clone, because they try to replicate every detail, but some of the details are wrong and it doesn't have the Strider emblem on it. Is it a good knife? Would you be able to EDC? First of all, even I always say I like a heavy knife. Even I don't want to carry this around in my pocket all day. But if you needed a hard use, you know, in the field knife, and this is what you have, listen, 5CR steel is not going to hold its edge for long. It is going to be pretty corrosion resistant, but you know, you're going to be doing edge maintenance on this thing all day long. But if you look at how thick the blade is, the steel, yeah, you can beat on it. If you want to practice some of your customization stuff, like, well, this is not titanium, but I was going to say if it was, or aluminum, or, you know, sometimes the fake ones have a low-grade titanium, you could sand off this sort of whatever coating this is, and do some flame heat oxidation. It's not technically anno, but we call it flame anno. You could do some work on the blade, whatever. it could be a good platform for stuff like that. But overall, I saw this one, and then for like, you know, $50-something, I saw one that actually has the Strider markings on it and everything on Amazon. And look, for $50, you are not getting a real Strider. You're not. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, duh, but I wouldn't put the video out if there weren't people that just didn't know better. So I threw away $20 so we could get this thing, so I could show it to you. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with it now. I do want to hang on, I want to test the edge right out of the package. Well, you know, it helps if you cut on the edge and not the ricasso there. That's actually nicely finished. I mean, I gotta say, it's nice. It feels okay as the blades go. I knew I had some cord somewhere. I knew I had it right here. I knew it was right here. So, damn, this is a heavy bitch. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna move this before, like an idiot, I knock it all over my pants. All right, slice is pretty good. I also turned off the 3D printer. Probably don't hear that annoying noise anymore. It does not move at all before you feel that cut. I mean, it just, all right, pull through. I gotta say, for a cheap knife, nothing, no effort at all. But for the time-tested favorite, pew, 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 pew. Yeah, see, this is really a pew-friendly surface. Yeah, it pews. So the grind lines, I mean, are pretty. I'm not gonna. I get it. They're cheap grind lines, but they look nice, right? It's a cheap knife, but it comes finished well. It comes finished well. That's what I can say about it. That's what I can say about it. You're probably more likely to throw this thing and kill somebody with a head injury than you are to actually use it for anything good. But, you know, I think I said this before, maybe I did, maybe I just in my head, but it's a fairly good representation of what a Strider blade should look like. But also I noticed the finishing around the thumb hole here is it's not as refined as Striders I've had. Very, very 90-degree, not sharp. I mean, I'm not going to cut stuff with it, but I wonder if you could like pull a ferro rod through here to spark it. When I say sharp, I mean it actually digs into your thumb a little bit. You know, like it. Anyway, all right, guys. So $19.95 or 99 cents, whatever, on Amazon. Not really a Strider, but it sure does look like one at first glance. I, of course, am never, I say this all the time, got that 90 degrees over here too. Not bad. I am never in favor of clones, reproductions, or copies. But like I said, I saw this and it was just right there, and I wanted to get my hands on it to see if it could possibly be any good. And I'm sure some people would carry this around and say, yeah, it's a good solid knife, but you know, we know the steel is relatively cheap. You've got this big, I wish I had a magnet here, big chunkin' hunkin' piece of steel, 3 pieces of steel, where you really should just have titanium. And whatever. All right, guys, so your thoughts. Would you have bought this if you saw it just to mess with it, like just to play with it, just to see how well it works? Would anyone else have bought this thing? Or what do you think, this versus a real one, you know? And of course the huge astronomical price difference between them. I'm just curious. So thanks, guys, for spending a little bit more time with me. Just wanted to, I don't know, thought it would be fun to check this thing out. I'll probably throw it into a volcano. No, I don't know. But, you know, thank all of you. Remember that you guys are all absolutely awesome, and I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll be back again real soon.